Supachai, with whom I have been relating digitally, and I found that our relationship is not just 3 days old, but maybe 3 decades old. That is the kind of mental alliance that we found. Swami Paramatmananda, who leads the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha and presents the Hindu viewpoint to the world, and my good friend and the governor of Bihar, we have worked together for 40 years in politics and other fields, Shri Arif Muhammad Khan, Mr. Satnam Singh Sandhu, with whom I met only now, about whom the Prime Minister mentioned to me as someone with whom I have to relate and learn. And the Rinpoche, Secretary General of IPC, and he has been very kind to me despite the fact that I have not spent enough time with him, and it is necessary now. I find that the kind of work we have undertaken that I have to find the time to spend with him. And the Honorable Governor of Krabi Province and all the saints and seers here and dear brothers. You know, this Samvad was conceived with a very deep vision and a very long-term approach. It's not one of those things which addresses and is arrested by the context in which all of us live. You know, yesterday when I was traveling in the bus for the program, the Japanese Foundation representative, Mr. Sato, asked me a question which made me think what I have not been thinking about India in the way in which a person from outside thinks about India. He asked me, how is it from the days of Buddha till today, India is producing great saints and seers, which we don't find in most nations. This set me thinking. It is true. From the days of Buddha and Shankara, you can see the procession, the continuity of saints and seers. So there is something not only in the country but in the ecosystem. The Indian civilization has been largely preserved despite 10 centuries of foreign assault and 5-6 decades of the attack of modernity. We have preserved an ecosystem in which this great tradition continues. And immediately compare, I saw the Pew research about America. There are only 3 canonized saints from America, and they started only in 1976. And there are 32,000 canonized saints in Italy. So each country has its own ecosystem in which it produces exalted men of character, men and women, as Swami Vivekananda said. And what is the Hindu-Buddhist tradition as I understand it? I am not a scholar, but I have learned from scholars what is, after all, the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism. The origin of the entire universe, according to Buddha, is Sunya. We cannot define where it emanated from. But Hinduism said it is Brahman. Whether it is Brahman or Sunya is the only difference between Hinduism and Buddhism. It is 2 sides of the same coin, where to look at it from. So the universe originated in something which cannot be defined is the latest Nobel Prize theory won by Roger Penrose in 220. So there is an alignment between science, which is probing into the origin of the universe, and the saints of India, Buddha, the Shankara, the Vedic rishis. They had zeroed in on that the origin of the universe is Sunya, it is not matter, it is not energy. Energy and matter came out of it. So we must understand that the Hindu-Buddhist tradition is as recent as it is ancient, because the ancient viewpoint has been discovered by science today. The third thing is, we talk about tolerance. When we talk about the idea of conflict avoidance. Conflict avoidance is not produced by tolerance. Conflict avoidance is produced by acceptance of differences. The greatest contribution that the Hindu and Buddhist civilization have given to the world is not to tolerate others. Tolerating others means you are inferior, you are bad, you are violent, you are this, but still I tolerate you. That is not the attitude. That is the modern definition of how human beings should relate. Hatred inside and sweet words outside is tolerance. But our view is, as Swami Paramatmananda said, we accept everything. Because the diversity is so vast, it is so vast that we can, a human mind or the collectivity of all human mind or all the research institutions put together can never comprehend the huge diversity that the universe presents. So, we are not, Hindu, Buddhist civilization just does not merely tolerate the differences, but accept the differences as natural. And you may be very interested to know that the world talks about diversity so extensively today, but the word diversity entered the United Nations dictionary only in the year 2001 in the Cultural Diversity Convention. Till then, the United Nations basic document said, unless all philosophies, all diversities, all ways of life are done away with and only one size fit all model is adopted, the world can never develop. This was the mandate of the measures for the development of underdeveloped nations which the United Nations put out in 1951 and accepted by all countries, whether it is Thailand, whether it is China, whether it is India. The entire world accepted this, that you have to reject your past if you have to grow in future. That was the message of the United Nations, and the United Nations changed only in 2021. No, it is not correct. Culture is not against development. Culture is aid to development, is what the Millennium Development Goals declared in the year 2015. The world has changed, but the kind of message that has gone to us, it has not changed. It has remained the same. We are frozen in the thought that our traditions are bad, our past is bad. The past may be good at some point in time, but the past, is it good today? This is the question that the Hindu-Buddhist civilizations will have to present to the world. And I take only two examples. There is a whole lot of things, because you can never present to the world by examples, but you can only open the mind by examples. We have taken two phenomena. One is environmental consciousness, another conflict avoidance. As I said, conflict avoidance emanates from the fact that differences are inevitable, differences are natural, and differences constitute diversities, which we see as differences, and then as divisions, and then we begin fighting. That is why in the Hindu-Buddhist tradition, there is a rule for even war, how not to wage war. Wars were avoided in India, and this is proven by the research by Professor R.J. Rummel of Hawaii University, who spent 30 years studying conflicts all over the world, and he came out with these findings in the year 2007, where he said in the world, human beings are mass slaughtered human beings, 1.2 billion is the mass slaughter that took place in the world in the last 2,500 years. But in India, till the 13th century, for 1800 years, there was no mass killing. The only exception was Emperor Ashoka's. Because he felt he waged a war against dharma, he regretted and gave up the war itself. Because there is a standard of waging the war. You cannot wage a war simply because you have an army, or you have power, or you have influence. You have to give notice to the other side. They want to wage a war and conquer you. He may have a deal with you. Nowhere in the world, only in 1897, rules of war which are considered to be humane now were discovered by the world. Differences between combatants and non-combatants came into being only in 1897 at The Hague. Modern world is searching where the traditional roots of Hinduism and Buddhism avoided conflicts. Conflicts arise in the mind, and then it gets into the hand. So this is the message. Then so far as environmental consciousness is concerned, regarding nature as sacred is the origin. That is how Asia has preserved. In India, if you see, we have 2.4% of land and we have 18% human population. We have 30% bovine population. We have 42%, I'm talking about the world, 30% of world's bovine population, 42% of world's cattle population, 8% of bioresources, 21% forest coverage. It is an ecological wonder how it happens, because we will not even cut a tree. In our village, there is a custom. You cannot cut a tree. If there is a pregnant woman in any house, you have to take the permission of the house to cut the tree. That is the relationship between human and nature. And I will tell you how our lifestyle, our way of living, take three examples. One, housing. The average number of persons residing in a house in India is 4.5. The average number of persons residing in a house in America is 2.5. If all Indians begin to live like Americans, we will need 120 million more houses. There will be ecological destruction. And so much electricity, so much conveniences. Living together, sharing responsibilities. Which is brought by dharma, respect for elders, respect for the way we bring up the children, all this is family responsibility. Family system constitutes the biggest contribution to environmental consciousness. Then I will come to social security. You see, in America is an example. That is why I am saying, because the whole world is looking to America, and to Americanize itself has been the process which has been going on for the last 30 years. In America, the social security system came into being in 1960. Many economists said, don't follow this process because it is interfering with the intergenerational obligations of children to parents. You can never substitute it by law. But still, the politicians went ahead and did it. Social security. Today, no American child even thinks it is their responsibility to take care of the parents. With the result, all the responsibilities have fallen on the government. Social security system was initially so producing of revenue, in the sense that more children were being born and more people were getting into employment. There was more contribution to social security. Today it has reversed because the population is stabilized and is coming down. The contribution into the social security is less. Withdrawal from social security is more. With the result, the social security account has gone into deficit. The future social security obligations reduced to the present day value is $63 trillion. This is 3 times the GDP of America. It is dynamiting the American economy. But if you see the Hindu-Buddhist civilization, the entire responsibility of social security is taken care of by the family. It is duty to parents. If Asian nations follow the social security model of America, it will get bankrupted in 10 years. But this huge social security system instituted by dharma, that is not only protecting environment, it is also protecting the economy. So we must understand, the future of the world can be guaranteed only by Hindu-Buddhist civilizational values rooted in dharma. Dharma means simply this, which I learned from Swami Dayananda Saraswati. He said, you must do those things which you would like others to do to you. You must not do anything which you do not want others to do to you. In these 2 sentences, dharma is captured. And that is the way we have to live. We have to educate ourselves. We have to recall it is not that we are dharmic society today. We have to reconnect ourselves to dharma, and that is the effort of Samvad. Thank you very much.